Welcome to another reading. Today we're going to find out how you can find your true purpose. It could be something in the moment or something long-term like a destiny. Either way, we're going to try and see how and what you can do in order to reach that conclusion or get that insight, or even maybe clear something that you have to work on or heal that you may not be aware that is possibly blocking your path, so that you can reach that. Okay? So there won't be any groups to choose. This is going to be a collective reading. Wow, again, this card came out last time. Remember who you are. In Freemasonry, there's, I think, like, the first rule is to know thyself. Because when you know yourself, when you know where you came from, when you know who your family was, what they did, where you come from, all of that is a piece of your identity, even though you may not be aware of it. You may have certain skills that stem from your ancestors. You may have certain likes and dislikes that stem from them. Knowing who you are, you then will know what you want and where you're headed, where you want to go. Okay, a lot of people are lost because they only know what they know, right? They know their life story, but that isn't who you are. Those are layers that have been put on you by yourself or by others, that you then accept that illusion and that identity, but it isn't you. Knowing yourself is knowing the path before you, your ancestors. Knowing yourself, your true identity, which is the spirit self, which you can only get through meditation, being still, rooted in nature. And that will then start to shed away the brain fog, the toxicity inside of you, so that you are well aware of what you are standing for, what you truly desire, and then you will know where you're headed. Tune in and connect. Nonverbal communication, intuition messages. Like I said, being still. When you are in your stillness, when you're quiet, that is when you get the most messages, the most insight. Because when you're allowing your mind to be loud, to constantly think about things, to overthink, when you're talking yourself, you're pushing away insight, because you're filling that space with your own words, with your own thoughts. But when you're quiet, when you're still, when you're not thinking about anything, that is when you start to feel more, when your deeper senses start to come online. Okay, so tuning in to the world around you by being still and just allowing that inner spirit, that inner gut, or your heart, your mind, to connect with the world around you, you start to feel deeper and see more. It's like the first time, let's say you read a book, you think that you have read every word, and maybe you have, right? It's not like you skip words. You read everything. But because it is your first time reading that book, you only get the general idea of what the book is about. The second time you go back and reread that book, because you already know the initial story, you then start to pick up on that deeper level that you may have missed. A scene, an action, some words, something that you sort of, your brain didn't really see as important last time because the first time you were only trying to know what the story is about. Okay? Even when you go back and look at certain movies, you will start to see that because you now know more, uh, more information through life, through media and independent sources and things like that, when you go back on certain movies that dealt with certain subjects like, I don't know, government or something, you start to see that you missed certain information before because you were clueless about it, and your mind sort of just skipped over it because it wasn't important to you. You only looked at these other parts of the movie, right? So when you stay still, when you don't overthink, you gain more. There's also a saying, you can tell who's really wise or intelligent just by how much they talk and what they laugh at. When people laugh at really stupid things, you see how stupid they really are and their level of thinking. I'm not saying you have to be serious all the time, but there is a level of wisdom you tend to reach where certain jokes are just plain stupid. People that don't know much, they're the ones that keep talking and running their mouth. People that are wise, they will hold back and they'll just observe. Laugh and have fun. Smile, positive energy, joyfulness. So, not taking yourself always too seriously. I don't care if you're the CEO or if you're someone doing something so important and so serious. You also need to let down your guard, have some fun, smile, and be in that joyful state. Okay, you have to be in the state of being childlike. And there's a difference between childish and being childlike. When you're childish, you're immature. You have that immature energy. You may be saying stupid things, or you may be over emotional. Just that chaotic, immature energy, right? But being childlike, that is being mature, but having that innocence, like the sense of wonder, of imagination, of creativity, of just allowing like the smallest things in your life to make you feel like it holds so much impact. Even splashing in puddles, or allowing the rain to just wash over you, or laying down on the grass and watching the clouds go by and trying to see what animal or what shape you see in them, right? So being more lighthearted, because then you're not adding force to the situation. You're not forcing yourself to have to know what you need to do in this life or at this moment. When you are calm, when you're still, when you're lighthearted, and just allowing things to be without the need to control, that is when you start to pick up on more, when you start to realize more. And it's usually, I noticed, it's usually the thing that you're really passionate about that tend to be the thing that is your like purpose. For example, if you've ever watched the movie P.S. I Love You with Jared Butler, and I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name now. But, so the main female character, she, like, this is not emphasized so much in the beginning, but she has this thing about, like, shoes. She always, like, she has so much shoes and, loves their style and everything like that. And her and Gerard Butler's character, they have this argument and things like that, and he tells her, like, he points out the fact that she constantly keeps buying shoes, and their apartment is too small, for to make a baby and have a family. They need something bigger, and he doesn't care. He just wants to, have a family with her because he loves her. But she's like so controlling, and she needs a bigger space. She needs, all these things. Like, in her mind, she's of course functioning from a masculine state, right? She needs structure, she needs something to be right and things like that. But he's more of like that feminine role and energy where he's just like in the flow. Let's just do this. Like, he loves her, let's just have a family. We'll figure it out as, things go. And the thing is, throughout the movie, when he's not there anymore, she gets angry, and I don't know if she throws something or something happens, and this object, I can't remember what it was, it lands on her shoe. And when she looks at it, she suddenly, because the thing is, throughout the movie, it's like she's struggling to know what career path she should go. She has these vision boards of, all these different things she's interested in. Even one of them, I think, being like a vampire hunter or something. And every time, like, she has a job, she either, I don't know, doesn't like something and she quits, or she gets fired or whatever. And once she picks her shoe up and sees this object on her shoe, she then, like, this epiphany happens. And she starts designing shoes, which eventually leads her to her purpose. And she has this company where she ends up being a shoe designer. And the thing is, it was always there. It was always staring her right in the face. She had shoes everywhere. She loved shoes. So consider what it is that gives you that childlike energy, something you're so passionate about that calls to your soul, something maybe you collect. Let's say you collect stamps. What if you're meant to design stamps? Maybe you collect postcards. What if you're meant to design your own postcards, have your own either art or photography or something on them? Think about what it is that gives you that childlike energy, that you're so in tune with it, that you love it so much. Something either you love to work on, something you love to collect, something that just fills you up with joy. Even if it's some sort of food you just love to eat. Maybe you're supposed to open like a food stand, or one of those food trucks. Right? So consider that something that's already there staring you in the face. Patience. You need patience. Sometimes it's not time yet to know. Sometimes there are things that need to be worked on in the background that you're not aware of. So you need to still be patient and consider doing your part, right? Getting to know yourself better, meditating and centering yourself, tuning into the world around you, especially in nature. Being more lighthearted and joyful, allowing things to just be and not having so much control, right? When you do those things, you start to sort of be more in tune and allow things to come to you naturally. Okay? You could have that epiphany yourself by, in a moment that you least expect it. Maybe you are watching a movie, or maybe you're just going on a hike and just minding your own business, enjoying the nature, and then it just hits you. You don't know. Okay, so be more patient. Rejection. This could be about healing some sort of rejection or healing the rejection you have with yourself. It's funny that a lot, like, these two cards already showed up in the last reading. So this is something that the collective needs to work on because so many people are rejecting themselves. They're thinking that they're not good enough. But to what standards do you have this idea? What are you comparing yourself to? Because everyone is winging it. The things, like the stories you see from others online, is an illusion. They're only posting their best moments. You don't know what happens behind the scenes. Even the best relationship goals that you see online could be abusive behind closed doors. You don't know. Or boring. They're just creating a highlight so you can feel bad about your own life because they have this perfect life that you want. But trust me, you don't want it because you don't know what happens behind closed doors. Okay? Whatever has been done to you or that you have gone through is not who you are. It is just an experience, nothing more. So don't allow your past to dictate your future. Just because you grew up poor doesn't mean you have to stay poor. It means that you have to build yourself up, reject that poor mentality, and start thinking in a higher level. And I don't mean an egotistical, materialistic level. I'm talking about owning it. Yeah, you grew up in a rough situation, but that rough situation has taught you something. It has given you an experience that you can then build upon, right? A lot of people that grow up rich, and yeah, sure, they may have a rich mentality, but they're still in fear. They work hard because they're in fear still that they might lose everything, right? They make sure that they work hard because there's a fear that they may, because it's not guaranteed. Things change. Even wealthy people have moments when they lose money, when they risk an investment, right? But the thing is, you already know what it's like to be poor, to have financial struggle, and you know that you survived. So there shouldn't be any fear of what if I don't make it, because you already came from there. All you have to do now is build yourself up, work harder, work smarter. Cycles, yes. Everything happens in cycles. Just because you're down now, just because you don't know now, doesn't mean that you won't later or that you won't improve, okay? Everything is a cycle. Just like I said that, money goes up and down, right? Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. Sometimes you are rejected, sometimes you are in a great mood and have a great relationship with someone, right? It is always some sort of cycle. So don't limit your mind to think that you will only be stuck in this one state. Okay, it is not up to your exterior world to prove to you what or who you are. It is up to you. Your mind. Once you shift that mind, you will then start to experience the world differently. You have to prove to the world who you are. Prove it to yourself. Okay? And sometimes it's not, I know that some people expect like step-by-step guides of how can I find my purpose, but the thing is sometimes it's just changing the way you think. Sometimes it's just changing the way you think about yourself and the world around you, or even what it is you're even thinking about. Maybe you're cluttering your mind with things that are so unnecessary or depraved or toxic that you can't see the truth of what you should be doing or what your calling is. Right? So removing that clutter from your mind, ending toxic habits, right? These cycles can be toxic habits, that things that you always fall back on, that limit you from moving forward. So consider that as well. You got Odin with guidance. So guidance is being given to you. For some of you, if you had that feeling that you should be guiding someone, maybe you're becoming a teacher or therapist or something, like you have this calling, maybe this is the sign you needed. Okay? For others, be aware that guidance can come in a variety of different ways. Okay, it could be like someone actually, like you going to someone that can help you with something, right? Discover something. Maybe this is going to school or taking a course for a skill that you always wanted because it fills you with passion. This could also be getting guidance through other means, like through signs, synchronicities, things like that. Okay, so be aware when you feel and you see and you notice that something is kind of emphasized, like a song lyric, a conversation. You pass by and you see or hear something, and you feel kind of emphasized at you. Okay, consider it that it's a sign. You got thought with wisdom. Seeking wisdom. This could be researching more information. Maybe there are a few different things that you're interested in doing, and you can't choose. You don't know what your path is between these things. Okay? Consider getting more wisdom on it. Talking to people that do those things. Looking at how it works behind the scenes and not just the fun part, right? Knowing more gains you wisdom on what it is that you would be truly interested in doing. Sometimes we have this idea and then we go to school for it only to then see that it's not for us, right? So you have to know the whole picture. I'll give you a good example. Okay, when I was a kid, I actually wanted to be a hairdresser because I thought it would be fun just styling people's hair. But then you come to find that you're going to have to stand for hours. Okay, your legs, your feet are going to hurt. You're going to have to deal with insufferable clients. You're going to have to do certain looks that you're so not interested in doing. Maybe you thought about, doing hair, like fun hairstyles, things that you enjoy. But the thing is, you're going to have to do things that you don't like, right? Touching people's hair, and people come in different ways. Not everyone is going to come in all sleek and pretty, and some people are going to come in with hair that is greasy and oily and maybe even have lice. You don't know what you're going to have to deal with, right? So when you're looking at what it is you want to do, think about every aspect and are you ready to deal with it? Okay, so gaining more wisdom on the things that you may be interested in. You got Poseidon with flow, which is interesting. It's in the same row as the laugh and play card here. So going with the flow, allowing yourself to just be and do what makes you happy. Okay, you can come through to a conclusion through whatever it is you just naturally do. Okay, so the point is not to be controlling about it, not to add pressure to yourself. Force only makes energy rigid, and it's not moving anywhere. Okay, force is like a wall. You got games. It's literally telling you to be more childlike, to be full of wonder, to be carefree, to just love life, to fall in love with yourself, with your life, and just be. It could also, for some of you, it could also be a warning to stop playing silly games, right? For example, if let's say you are seeking a true love connection, right? Not something that is passing, not a fling, not something that will just last 2 to 3 years. I'm talking about something permanent, right? And yet you're a player, right? So it's telling you stop lying to yourself, know who you are, and make that change, because you can't seek something permanent of quality, of value, if you're out there playing games, either with yourself, with others, whatever. Okay? It's the same when some people want an honest person, but then they're dishonest. Or when they don't want a cheater, but then they're cheating. Right? Stop playing games. And this could also mean not just your personality, but what you're actually doing. Maybe you're constantly just playing video games all day. And for some of you, that could be your calling. Maybe you're supposed to be a game tester. Maybe you're supposed to be creating games and not just playing them, right? But for others, it could mean that you're wasting so much of your precious time on stupid things when you could be doing something that actually makes a difference, that actually ignites your passion about something, right? So it could be stop playing games, or it could be start being more lighthearted. Okay, so it's going to be different for everyone depending on what it is you're doing in your life. Okay, it says pilgrimage. So taking a pilgrimage, maybe taking some time off and just spending more time with yourself in nature, you know, meditating. It could also mean going on vacation or going on some sort of retreat. And if you can't afford that, if you don't have the means or whatever, it could mean just spending more time maybe in your garden and just chilling and allowing things to just flow and just be. Okay, it's like you're being asked to be a lot more fluid, right? So allowing things to flow more. Okay, you got the taboo card here. I'm going to read that specific one. Okay, it says, find your way. Seek your own path. Unless what you wish for disturbs the greater good, worry less about what others think. Speak about a difficult topic or seek resolution for a difficult situation. Your body is your body. You have the right to make choices about its pleasure, pain, and health. So it's telling you to stop following the crowd. Okay, you are not supposed to be a clone. You're supposed to be an individual. So if something makes sense to you, as long as it's not hurting anyone, as long as you are being respectful, to yourself, as long as you have dignity and you feel empowered by whatever this is, you feel a passion for this. I'm not saying choosing things that will just make you money. I'm talking about something that actually gives you passion, that you love, that makes your soul happy. Okay? So this isn't about making an OnlyFans because this is my body and this is how I make money. No, you're doing that in order to make more money. I'm talking about something that actually fills your soul with happiness, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. And that doesn't have to be something big or huge or unique. It could even be something as opening your own business and everyone around you telling you, yeah, but what if you fail? What if it doesn't pick up? But if it makes sense to you, if you feel like this is your calling, do it. Don't allow other people to sway your decision. Okay? They are coming from a place of fear. And yes, sometimes they're looking out for you. They worry, they don't want you to risk it. But they don't know your mind, your soul. If this is something that makes your soul sing, do it. And the flame just went out. Okay? Now let's take a advice card for you here. Okay, 2 cards. No, you don't break that easily anymore. Instead, you use things as fuel, like an alchemist. Just like I said about the example of coming from a place of financial struggle or whatever it is, right? That didn't break you. You're still here. You moved on from it. You're not in the same place as you were. Okay, so no, you don't break easily. Okay, allow your past to fuel your future. Allow it to, allow it to show you that you are stronger than you think, because you survived far more. Your other card says, Spirit is always whispering in signs, synchronicities, intuition, sacred secrets just for you. Are you listening? Okay, so don't create that wall, that rigid wall of control, of thinking, but it needs to be this way, but I need to do A, B, C first before I get to D or whatever. No, you don't have to. You can skip those steps and just go straight to what it is you actually want. Like some people will say, I'm going to move to that place, but first I have to make more money, first I have to do this, then I have to... No. Just move there. Sell everything that you have. If your soul is, if that place is calling to your soul, why are you putting all these boundaries and steps before it when you can just sell everything, take that money, leave, and move wherever you want? Right? Like, stop structuring things that make sense. Go with the flow. Of course, you don't want to risk everything, right? Sometimes, yeah, you may need something to fall back on, right? 6 months of pay in advance, just in case something goes wrong. But don't limit yourself. Okay? So remember who you are. Tune into the world around you. And I don't mean world as in society. I mean nature, spirit, energy. Tune into those frequencies. Because once you connect with them, the best way is through meditation. I don't mean meditating once a month. I'm talking about consistently. Even if it's 5 minutes a day. Maybe in the morning or afternoon after lunch or something. Go outside somewhere, especially now that it's warmer. Sit somewhere and just meditate. Tune into your center. Find yourself. Okay, remind yourself of what makes you happy. What makes your heart flutter with happiness. there you will find your true calling, your true purpose. Okay? So that is all I have for you today. I hope this helped. I hope it inspired you in some way. And maybe some of you even figured out your true purpose just by watching this. So I wish you guys luck. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more and stay updated. And all the links will be down in the description box below, where you can find me on my socials, where you can get a personal reading and shop and a lot more. So I'll see you guys next time.